Hello, welcome. Today's conversation is more of an opening to an awareness kind of conversation. I'll keep it really short and sweet. This is going to piggyback off of another conversation or prefaces. I don't know which one you're seeing first, but it's a conversation of when what we've come to know and do is now requiring action from us that seems so left field. Like, we can't imagine our lives without this thing, but it's actually, we see all the signs, we know what's wrong for us, we know it's doing horrible things. Are we actually willing to change it? Like, instead of just band-aiding, instead of just doing a band-aid approach, there we go. Can we and are we willing to complete 180, take a side road, take a left, turn upside down, and choose something different? But then I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast recently, and I'll link it in below. But they were talking about Instagram and kids and how years ago we weren't really seeing the effects of it, but now we clearly are seeing the effects of what it does on kids. And we know studies have done research. We know from our own physical experience with this platform, it's not doing us psychological good. And we know that experiments have been done where they've used Facebook and Instagram and like bot accounts to shift narratives to make a conversation that is really a very small conversation, make it seem like the biggest thing and that everyone's getting on board. But the reality actually is that most people actually don't think that way or agree or care. But because you can put out so many platforms out there and you can make so many accounts on a platform, a small conversation can turn into a really big conversation, but 95% of it is like false and, for lack of a better word, like propaganda. Like, it's intentional to drive a conversation a certain way. And we're seeing it across the board in every industry and every topic. It's creating this unawareness as to what's real and what's fake. And it's getting harder and harder to think for ourselves, which is a psychological manipulative tool that there's so much research on how to manipulate audiences. I was having a conversation with Clayton the other day about how like some people think that people aren't sitting at a desk or aren't having these conversations about how to manipulate things and get the most out of people and hook them into something. But you literally don't have to go down a rabbit hole of any sorts to see that like the food industry does it with chips and candy and processed foods. Like, there's scientists that their whole job is to find out the exact strength of a chip and the crunch and the amount of time that a flavor lingers. It's all manipulation. And you go into any other sector, it's marketing, it's a speech, it's these research that's done in universities to gain awareness on behavior, and then anybody can use it for and against something, whether it's for the betterment of society or yourself, like, and from a higher power point of view, or it's to diminish, lock you in, control you. This conversation with Rogan and the psychologist about Instagram and kids really sparked a conversation in myself, which supports the decision that I've made recently. It was a question of like, are we going to continue down this and just be, well, it is what it is? Or are we willing to make a step and say, no, this isn't the norm, or I choose not to participate in this anymore? What else can I do here? But it's the same stuff that's out there for everyone to use. So you kind of have to have this awareness of like, everyone's using the same stuff, and actually course correct ourselves, be the ripple effect, and no longer say, well, this outside source of me can dictate everything. And what I found very, very interesting was the psychologist, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, was saying that when they asked 16-year-old kids if Instagram didn't exist or it wasn't allowed for you until you were much older, would you not go on it? And they would say yes, but they go on it because everybody else does it. And so there's this conversation of like bandwagoning, right? You're on it because you don't want to miss out on something. You're on it because everybody else is on it. But you don't have a second to just even think for yourself, but is this actually what I want? And then we get on the hamster wheel, and then we're going. And we're going and we're going and we're going and we're going. And then we have breakdowns. And then we find that, we're less active. We're not as intellectually smart anymore. We're not striving in our life the way that we used to. We are paying more attention to people doing stupid stuff than people doing really great stuff. It's, again, not to say that everyone has the same relationship, but it's clear in the numbers, it's clear in the data that this is not benefiting us as human beings the way that we would like it to. It's creating more disconnect, depression, anxiety. If you'd like to change it, you have to stop looking at the outside things and blaming them. And you have to make choices that course correct yourself for you and release the FOMO. So I just want to pose this question to you. Like, what is your relationship with these platforms? How is it making you feel? And ask yourself, if this didn't exist, where would I put my time? If I was starting from scratch and I knew all that I knew about it and I was given a redo, am I going to choose it? Or would I actually say, no, thanks. I'm going to just be present in my life and live my life and find other avenues of connecting and getting, sources of things. It's interesting because these platforms have become areas of information, whether it's true or not, or fully informed or not, have always been other ways. And this way has just become the quick instant, which has its roles. I'm not going to use a word that they would like me to use because I don't believe in those words, but also like WhatsApp groups have its roles for sharing. We have this capacity to be instantly connected. We have to take a second and be like, can we stop here? And another question I want to pose to you is, with the whole AI rise, dare I say, it just makes me sweat just saying those words. It really makes me uncomfortable. I'm just going to put it out there. But how many of you, and I also want to know if you're out there too with me, I'm okay if the advancement literally halted right now. I don't need robots. I don't need my face scanned and everybody to know everything. I don't need glasses that are scanning me throughout my daily lives and then it's getting posted here and it's getting shared there. And then my life becomes a movie on a screen, but I didn't actually participate in that. It's just because everyone's filming everything. I don't need AI to get any more advanced. And I'm okay if it just blew up right here. Part of this question is about pausing. Like, we're moving so fast. And so in this episode, there was something posed about how we haven't taken a pause to evaluate, understand, recognize, and discuss the impact of all of this. We're just letting it all happen so fast. Part of relaunching this platform, choosing what I'm choosing, it's about pausing and being way more intentional of what I'm participating in and not allowing it to just happen around me without at least me having some sort of thought, like personal thought and awareness in it. And maybe if we all start doing that, things may slow down a little bit and we can have a discussion about where this is going, how it is being applied, what it is doing, what it is taking away, what is it stripping from us, what is it consuming of us, and some implications that at the end of the day, I don't think a lot of people like their privacy being invaded, but we become okay with it with cameras. If you asked a lot of people, you'd be like, don't really like that, but I don't know how to handle it. And I'm not here to give you a solution, but I'm here to offer an opportunity to pause and be the interruption in just you being a pause, being an interruption of not choosing to participate in certain platforms, taking a introspective look of how it's affecting your life and maybe choosing differently, maybe adapting habits, making whatever choice you'd like to make, but with awareness and with conscious choice, not subconscious or unconscious choosings. So that's my conversation today. Just to recap, are we willing to make a different choice here? Are we willing to go off of things? Are we willing to ask ourselves some questions? And are we willing to pause, have discussions? Even in our thoughts, we can disrupt things. So I think the more that people start changing their behaviors consciously, things might get a little interrupted. Little old me can't change the world as fast as I like, but I can encourage more people to interrupt the quantum algorithm with what's happening with their thoughts and questions. Questions are huge in changing anything. So I encourage you just to ask more questions about what is coming up when you keep tapping into these platforms. Okay, that's the conversation. I hope it made sense. It's just something that I needed to like flow through. Check out the episode with Joe Rogan and this psychologist. It just offers a lot of questions and time for introspection, even though it might seem a little gloomy. Also, it doesn't need to be. Take it, let it wash over you, and what comes up, let it come up, and let everything else kind of fall away. And just know that it's about more awareness. Okay, see you later. Bye.